You know that the rumour mill is in full swing when we're doing these videos on back-to-back days, and we've got about 17 fresh rumours to talk about, loads kicking off in the Championship right now. The deals will slowly start to filter through, but at this point, like I say, the rumour mill really is in full swing. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like, and if you're not subscribed already, make sure to go ahead and hit that button if you want to stay up to date with all of this transfer news in the Championship over the summer. This is your best place to stay informed. But without any further ado, let's just jump in. So according to the latest reports, Aston Villa are prepared to sanction another loan move to the Championship for Louie this season. And going off the latest reports, Birmingham are one of the clubs who have held internal talks about potentially going in for the Aston Villa youngster. How much of a controversial move would that be, going from Villa to Birmingham? Now, Louie is someone who a lot of Championship clubs were chasing back in the January transfer window. He obviously had a superb first half of the season out on loan in League One with Stockport County, where he scored 15 goals and got 2 assists in League One during that first half of the season. He was then recalled from that loan spell, was then sent out on loan to Hull in the second half of the season, and Hull had to cough up a pretty big loan fee, if I remember rightly. I believe that loan fee that they paid to Aston Villa was around about £1 million just to get him for the second half of the season, and then he played 4 matches for Hull, picked up a season-ending injury and then didn't play for them after that point. So Hull fans never really saw the best of him, but there's no doubt a cracking player in there. 21 years old, can play a few different positions across the forward line. Birmingham are going to be very adventurous and ambitious with their recruitment this summer, but would Villa be willing to sanction a loan deal to their local rivals? I'm not so sure. Well, a lot of Championship clubs have been put on high alert that Barry will be made available for a loan deal, but the first club to be mentioned, like I say, is Birmingham, but that'd be a very interesting one indeed. We have had a bit of an advancement on yesterday's story regarding Liam Dilap going to Chelsea as well, and that is that Chelsea have indeed triggered his £30 million release clause, and Dilap is now expected to make that move to Stamford Bridge. Obviously, a lot of Premier League sides chasing the Ipswich Town forward signature. Looks like Chelsea are going to win the race. But with Dilap going to Chelsea, could we see a Chelsea forward going to Ipswich in the process? Well, according to Fabrizio Romano, Marc Guiu is a top target for Ipswich this summer, with the Tractor Boys keen on a loan move for the 19-year-old Chelsea forward, and I think this one will be a really exciting option for Ipswich, if I'm honest. Guiu is someone who came up through the Barcelona Youth Academy. Chelsea picked him up last summer. Not really featured that regularly in the Premier League, but in the cup competitions he got a fair few minutes, especially in the Conference League, where he scored 6 goals in 7 appearances for Chelsea. A loan move out to the Championship I think would make sense for his development right now. He's clearly a very highly rated youngster and has got a lot of pedigree from his upbringing at Barcelona as well. So yeah, you could see why Ipswich would be interested in that sort of deal. Speaking of Ipswich Town, they also reportedly hold an interest in Watford midfielder Tom Delibashiru, and it's come out that Watford reportedly value him at £8 million. Now don't get me wrong, I do rate Delibashiru, but for £8 million, if Ipswich were prepared to offer that sort of money, I think I've seen a lot of Watford fans saying it, you've got to take that, surely. Now, that's what Watford reportedly value him at. Whether Ipswich would be prepared to pay that much, we'll have to wait and see. He's been at Watford now for the last 6 or so years. He joined them on a free transfer from Manchester City back in 2019. He had that loan spell out at Reading, if I remember rightly, a few years ago, and then sort of since that point has been a bit more of a regular in the first team at Watford. 25 years old now. Watford fans, what was your reaction to that story when it broke? A number of Championship clubs have been put on alert because Crystal Palace are supposedly willing to listen to offers for Jezran Raksaki this summer. He's obviously spent this previous season out on loan with Sheffield United, scored 7 goals and got 2 assists for the Blades. Sheffield United fans, would you take him back on a permanent basis? One club who is likely to be in the mix is Southampton, who were linked with him back last summer. Ultimately, they were sort of battling with Sheffield United to get that signing, but couldn't agree a deal with Crystal Palace in the end. But with Palace now prepared to listen to permanent offers, Southampton could be back in the race for him. A number of Premier League clubs have registered an interest in Middlesbrough creative midfielder Aaaz. He's obviously coming off the back of an eye-catching season in the Championship for Borough, where he got 12 goals and 11 assists. Don't get me wrong, he is someone who can still blow a little bit hot and cold, but when he's fully on it, is capable of being one of the best players in the Championship, certainly in that creative role. Now, you've currently got the likes of Leeds United, Bournemouth and Crystal Palace, who have all been linked with the 24-year-old. The good news for Middlesbrough is that he is tied down to a long contract until 2028, and so if they are going to sanction a sale this summer, especially to a Premier League club, you'd imagine it would be for quite the pretty penny. Aaaz created 88 chances in the Championship last season. That was more than any other player in the second tier, and like I say, after the season he's just had, the sort of numbers he's put up, I think there was always going to be a bit of Premier League interest, wasn't there? And another player that was bound to attract interest this summer was Coventry's Jack Rodoni. A week or so ago we spoke about Newcastle potentially sniffing around him. Well, since that point, a few other clubs have entered the race. You've now got the likes of Leicester, Southampton and Sheffield United, who have all been linked with the midfielder recently. Now the question for Coventry is, would they be willing to play ball and negotiate with who would probably be their promotion rivals next season? You know, Coventry will be expecting to be in and amongst that promotion battle next season, and yeah, to lose Rodoni to a direct rival, I'm not sure how those negotiations would go down. Listen, Coventry would definitely be demanding quite a sizable fee for Rodoni. He's just coming off the back of a really productive season, 10 goals and 12 assists in the Championship. They signed him just a year ago from Huddersfield for, I want to say, a fee of around £5 million. He's under contract with the Sky Blues until 2028 as well, so from that aspect, they're not under a massive pressure to sell or cash in or anything like that. Totally get it if that interest was coming from a Premier League club. Those temptations are hard to turn down sometimes, but with a fellow Championship club, it makes things a little bit more awkward, I think, for those negotiations. Now, this could be an interesting sort of chain reaction that we have. If either Aaaz leaves Middlesbrough or Jack Rodoni leaves Coventry, either of those clubs could very well turn to Oxford United's Talle Goodrum as their potential replacements for those players. He has been linked with both clubs fairly recently, along with the likes of Southampton and a few others who have been linked with the Oxford United star. Probably say he is their most sellable asset right now. 21 years old, a lot of potential, coming off the back of a good season in the Championship. 3 goals, 6 assists he got, can play a few different roles as well. You can definitely see why there'd be interest there. Southampton midfielder Shay is coming off the back of a really good loan spell with Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship. From a Southampton perspective, they're probably hoping that he's going to be with them next season. He's already established himself as a top player at this level, but perhaps unsurprisingly, there is a bit of Premier League interest. West Ham, the latest club to be linked with the holding midfielder. Now, you'd imagine he'd cost quite a bit to get out of Southampton on a permanent basis. When the Saints picked him up from Manchester City, they themselves paid a base fee of 10.5 million, which could rise to 15 million with add-ons included. So any potential deal there for Southampton that's in their sort of favour, they'd want to flip him on for a significant profit. Listen, he's already a well-established player at the Championship, but when there is Premier League interest, Premier League money floating about, if West Ham are prepared to put up a big offer, that one could happen. Athletic Bilbao have been in talks with Borja Sainz and his representatives, but there's also interest from Olympiacos at the moment. I don't think there were any Norwich fans who are really expecting Sainz to still be playing at Carrow Road next season, obviously. Coming off the back of an eye-catching season in the Championship, 18 goals, 4 assists. Yes, he did go off the boil a bit in the second half of the season, but there was still bound to be interest, especially considering he's now going into the last 12 months of his contract at Norwich as well. So if they do want to maximise on that profit for him, now probably is the right time to sell. Now, relating to Sheffield United's Vinicius Souza, there have been some conflicting reports that have come out about the midfielder over the last sort of 48 hours. We've had one report coming out saying that he's ready to leave the club and he's ready for that next step in his career. And then we've had conflicting reports which have since come out claiming the total opposite of that, and that he's happy to stay at Sheffield United this season. What is clear is that Sheffield United rate him quite highly, and there's definitely going to be interest from sides in Europe this season. It has been claimed that the Blades would be looking for a fee of around 15 to 20 million if they are going to sell him this summer. Obviously, a really pivotal player for the Blades. I think his importance in that side sometimes gets overlooked because a lot of the limelight is on, you know, someone like a Gus Hamer maybe. But in terms of having the ability to step up to that next level, I'm in no doubt that he's got that in his locker. And yeah, you could definitely understand why there would be some interest from some top sides from abroad. But if they do want him, they're going to have to cough up a pretty penny, that's for sure. I've had it announced from Sheffield United that they are in negotiations with Brewster over a new deal. We've known for quite some time that his existing deal at Bramall Lane would be expiring at the end of this season. And there was a bit of uncertainty with the forward as to whether or not he would be offered a new deal. Well, according to the recent club statement, they are in contract talks with him right now. They they've also triggered a 1-year extension in Jack Robinson's deal as well. QPR have a big decision on their hands this summer when it comes to the future of Charlie Kelman. He's just coming off the back of an excellent loan spell with Leyton Orient in League One. He ended that season as the League One Golden Boot winner, 21 goals in League One, 27 across all competitions. He's 23 years old, and according to Football League World, there have been up to 8 Championship clubs who have registered an interest in the QPR forward. Now, what do QPR do with him? Do they try and integrate him into their own starting 11 next season, or do they look to cash in while his value probably is at an all-time high right now? I definitely think one way or another he will be playing Championship football next season. I think when you score 20 plus goals in League One, you're always bound to attract that interest from the Championship. It's just a question of, will he be playing in the Championship for QPR or someone else? Let's wait and see. Both Coventry and Norwich have expressed an interest in experienced fullback Harry Toffolo, who's set to become a free agent this summer. Toffolo, who actually came through at the Norwich Academy, only ever made a handful of senior appearances for the club, but could potentially be returning. He really made a name for himself originally in the Championship with Huddersfield Town, then on the back of that obviously got his big move to Nottingham Forest. Still at a decent age, you know, he's only 29. I think would make sense for a few Championship clubs to be looking into that one. It's also been reported that Stoke City will sanction a loan deal for Nathan Lowe this summer, likely to send him out on loan to League One. He obviously spent the first half of the season out on loan in League Two with Walsall, where he was absolutely flying, scored 15 goals and got 5 assists in the first half of the season. Stoke then recalled him and didn't really feature that much for the Potters in the second half of the season. To be fair, he did score that goal against West Brom, but other than that, didn't really do much for Stoke in the second half of the season other than mostly sitting on the bench, so makes sense for his development, that next stage that they'll send him out on loan to League One to get a bit more regular first team football there, you'd imagine. But there you guys have it. That will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, and as always, if we did miss any rumours out, make sure to let me know about them in the comments down below and we'll give them a mention in the next video. Your support on these videos has been absolutely massive recently, guys, so as always, much appreciated for that. Other than that though, guys, thanks for tuning in and I'll see you in the next one.